Hi, welcome back to a Twin Flame Path. Um, so today we're going to be having a little bit of a collective reading, a little assessment of what may be going on as a whole within the Twin Flame community. Now, a little disclaimer is that all of these things are case sensitive, and the way that I present it may not be exactly what you're going through. But try to think of these things in very avant-garde ways. Try to think about them in very unorthodox ways, not standard and rigid. But for some, it may just be spot on, very just to the point. So let's see how it goes. I believe going into 2018, the end of 2017 for us Twin Flames was one of cleaning up loose ends. I feel like we put aside any hindrances, and by hindrances, I mean any little things that could have caused misunderstanding, even if it's a one-sided misunderstanding in our own mind, I feel as if we made a lot of progress because our souls wanted to start fresh in 2018. I feel like there was a shift of energy, not necessarily away from anything, but towards something. We had an internal yearning, and our clocks were synchronized with that of New Year's. And that yearning wanted to get to the place that a lot of us are at now. Where I feel we are now is synchronized, or at the very least at a higher rate of synchronization, a higher level of synchronization. And let me give an example of how this may look in a different kind of situation, one that you may not see. I feel on the soul level, let me give the example of an incarnation happening. I like to give the analogy of us twin flames at this point in existence being in the same forest. I feel as if a lot are in the forest together, and a lot of us are at different points within the forest. Imagine a path going through a 100-mile forest. So some of us may be just seeing the edge of the forest for the first time, and others may be on our way out. Some of us may be in there together, and a lot of us are at different points of the same path, but the path is the collective or representation of it. So let's say somebody has been in the forest but seemingly alone. I feel like an unorthodox display of the example that I gave about synchronization may be that one twin may just be that one that's at the edge of the forest, like, I didn't know this existed. And the other one within has been patiently waiting, but seemingly without answer. For others that are in planar situations or ones that are more tangible or able to be seen, last year, at the second half especially, there was a deep yearning for progress. And a lot of that progress, I feel, was made towards the end of the year. And it continued into the new year. But I also feel that it's felt that there's a certain clarity happening in the twin flame community right now. And for those that are seemingly in a situation that doesn't seem like it's making much progress, sometimes the progress is unseen, especially with those that have an uncommunicative, I hope that's the right way of saying that, but an uncommunicative twin, one that's all quiet on the home front. You may not hear from them in 5D or 3D, or maybe you hear from them in 5D, but things just aren't, lining up at all. That person is a reflection. You guys are a reflection of each other. I wouldn't say they're a reflection of you, but, you're a reflection of each other. So sometimes one needs to have the opportunity of sorting things out that may be impairing their ability to make progress as part of a union. I specifically feel that the masculines are coming to the front lines like knights in shining armor in whatever way and capacity that applies to you and your union, but they're more ready, and I think that has a lot to do with the work that happened together, but I also feel as if it's a result of purgings that happened with the feminines. And that's an example of that individual work, because sometimes things will come up that need to be purged, and it'll come as a result of your twin flame journey and your relationship. And by relationship, I mean, you guys are a pair, you guys are a team, a partnership. So if you got to this point of many purges, that reflects well in the relationship, in the partnership, in the union. And for those that are not in union, I feel that you're always on the path to it, but these things are an example of why, you're not there yet. And sometimes that doesn't sound too hot, to like, well, you're not in this union because, you had this to do. But that's true. But I'll give a little undercurrent as to why. When you're together, you may not have the opportunities to explore these things the same way that you would do when you're yearning for each other. Yearning for each other brings on a certain kind of love, a certain kind of devotion, and it ultimately leads to the discovery of what unconditional love is and extreme devotion. It gives you an illustration of what that looks like. When you're together, you could be distracted by how nice it is to be together, by the energy that occurs when you guys are even nearer to each other. And that's a real thing. Shifts in energy, there's like surges in energy if you guys get really near to each other after having been apart for half a lifetime, quarter of a lifetime, an incarnation, 2, 5. So these processes being gradual, they may not feel that great to those of us that get super eager. And me personally, I'm an eager person. I like things sometimes too quickly. Like, I always say as an artist, I like to see piece number 100 before I've completed pieces 1 through 99. And I get a frustration because I'm not seeing the results of piece number 100 when I'm on piece number 25. And I have to kind of simmer myself down, and think about it logically. And it's the same thing as, a lot of us have to do in these unions. It's like you have to simmer down and know that the ironing out is happening whether you see it or not. And resting in the truth of it's impossible to separate you guys. That's a really nice thing. That's a nice thing to remember and apply when you are exploring the definitions of what unconditional love is. I hope that this is resonating with some people, and keep in mind that it is all relative and it's all connected. And I will say one more thing. Recently we had a wolf moon, and in addition to the significance of New Year's and New Year's Eve and day and the drawing of a close of 1 year, there's still the lunar year. So that's going to be another turn. The energy of New Year's tends to be the human one, kind of cosmic as well, because it's, based on the sun, days, and the calendar that we have in place. But there's also the lunar year, but also all of these things are kind of branched to the cosmos in general. So with the wolf moon, that's an example of the occurrences in space having an effect on what we experience here, because galaxies that are far away, they have their things, right? But then us here in our galaxy, we're on Earth, and Earth and the other planets in this galaxy have their own kind of dimension within themselves. And even within that dimension, think about how grand that is. So things that happen in our solar system and astrologically, they have an effect on us. You can just look at the way that water is affected with moon cycles, how women are affected by moon cycles. So our energies are the same. If you want to look at it scientifically, it's a technical thing. If you want to look at it in the realm of quantum physics, that's a similar thing, but without hard definitions. So if you add the spiritual aspect to that, that happens as well, because you have those primal pulls of, we need to get this done. I really want to get this done because I love you. And I know that I'm being irrational. I can say this, like, I know I'm being irrational about a lot of things. I know this, but it's like an uncontrollable thing that is part of my process of having to control, because it's part of us growing together. So these things are all part of the dynamic. And to summarize, synchronicity seems to be the name of the game, and harnessing insecurities, I think, led to that, and continuing forward with the new feelings of support and confidence. I think it's lining up to be a very important but also exciting time, because a lot of the inhibitions that we had because of our insecurities from the ends of last year, the tails of last year, now that those have dissolved or are dissolving or really close to dissolving, imagine what's coming next. So look out for videos about those things, more about the cosmos and other topics like that are a little metaphysical, I guess you could say. And the Etsy store is up. It's called Twin Flame Path, and the first product that I have available is an illustration of where you guys are in your union right now. From either person's perspective, what it is that I give a little reading, take a little information, and make a piece of art that reflects it. And the art is illustration pen. They're black and white, black illustration pen on heavyweight paper, all high quality professional stuff. It'll come to you in plastic sleeve, shipped to you priority and safely. And there's an example on the Etsy page, like I said, a twin flame path, and it is actually of an example of my own journey that I did for myself. And it's very profound for me looking at it. And so I'm hoping that it'll have this offer has the same effect on others. I hope that you like the work, but I hope that it paints a significant picture for you. And it'll help you remember and document this time, kind of like a photo album, but through art. So with that, yeah, be on the lookout. The website is also under construction along with the Etsy store, but at least that ball is rolling. More to come. And the Facebook group is now started, and it is also called A Twin Flame Path. So shoot me a request if you'd like to join. And we have a few great members now, and looking forward to us expanding and growing together. So on that note, I will talk to you soon. Bye.